was talking with Antonio about getting money. He brings up that he could kill his grandma.
Seeing everybody die, remembering what I did, how worthless it is, how worthless I am because I killed all these people. They deserve to die. They deserve to live a lot more than I did, but they died. They deserve to live a lot more than I did, but they...
Joe McEnroe's eyes welled up with tears and sweat as prosecutors described the horrors of what he committed 7 years ago.
You have been afforded a tremendous opportunity, Mr. McEnroe. It's the opportunity to live out your life to its natural end. This is an opportunity that you denied to each one of your victims, including 2 children who had barely begun their life's adventure.
Prosecutors claimed McEnroe is the worst of the worst, having killed his then-girlfriend's family on Christmas Eve in 2007, shooting them all in the head, including 2 children.
In a matter of moments, you became their judge, jury, and executioner.
McEnroe, according to the defense, is mentally ill and was used as a pawn by his violent and domineering girlfriend, Michelle Anderson. They said she was paranoid and crazy, believing her family was out to get her, and that she was the architect of the horrific operation. She had him hooked. She drew him in. She altered everything. She turned him into the tool she needed to get the job done, Prestia said. According to the law, McEnroe is entitled to mercy from jurors, and prosecutors must establish he is worthy of execution. Their decision to sentence them to life in prison does not have to be unanimous. McEnroe's lawyer said he was a timid and modest guy until he met Michelle. He was like a hermit crab drifting in the ocean looking for a shell. And unfortunately, the person he met was Shelley, Prestia said. Prosecutors instructed the jury that they must serve as the conscience of the community. It's up to you to decide whether the defendant gets what he wants or what he deserves, O'Toole added. And when McEnroe's emotions met those of his victims' relatives, the final issue became whether McEnroe deserved the death penalty or a second chance.
Or defendant serve a term of life without parole. As to count 4 for the offense of attempted murder.
A Hamilton County court sentenced a man to life in prison after dismissing his request to withdraw his guilty plea in a 3-year-old murder case. Jaleel Smith Riley, 23, pled guilty to aggravated murder and attempted murder on August 11th, but then rescinded his plea against the recommendation of his counsel. Smith Riley's change of heart was rejected by Hamilton County Common Pleas Judge Charles Kubicki, who sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of release. Smith Riley dropped on the floor of Kubicki's courtroom after learning his punishment. Smith Riley was coaxed to his feet by police, and he then interrupted Kubicki. "So what does he get?" asked Smith Riley, who was previously sentenced to 11 years in jail on a similar attempted murder charge. It was unclear who Smith Riley was referring to in his rant.
This is somebody that feels genuine remorse. This is somebody that thinks about this every day, and he knows that he can't go back in time and undo what he did.
Officials say Smith Riley was one of 3 males engaged in an armed robbery in Norwood on the night of November 16, 2013. Portia Brooks and Aaron Martin were inside a parked vehicle when Smith Riley arrived and pounded on the window with a revolver, according to court filings. Smith Riley, according to court filings, pulled Martin out of the passenger seat, searched his pockets, and then shot him in the head. Martin was able to recover from his injuries. Smith Riley then leaned into the vehicle and fired 2 rounds at Brooks as she sat. She passed away 3 days later. According to Norwood Police Lieutenant Tom Fallon, Smith Riley has admitted to the crime in addition to pleading guilty. 2 additional men are suspected of being engaged in the crime, according to officials. Randall Byrd III was slain in a shooting near Muskegon, Michigan in September 2015. The second suspect, Josiah Fousse, 23, is being held in Michigan on murder charges in connection with the gunshot that killed Bird. According to court filings, Smith Riley transferred the pistol to Fousse sometime after shooting Brooks and Martin. He has not been charged in connection with the event. Earlier in the day's hearings, relatives of the Brooks and Martin families addressed the court, requesting that Kubicki refuse Smith Riley's release.
But he killed me mentally, emotionally. He killed my identity as a mother of 3, as a family of 4. This is what I have left because of his greed, his selfishness, his complete disregard of and disrespect of others and life.
Okay, so Tino hit his grandmother on the head?
Yeah.
Okay. What did he hit her on the head with?
Axe.
A 14-year-old boy who murdered his 78-year-old great-grandma with a hatchet sobbed in court as he was sentenced. Antonio Barbeau has been sentenced to at least 36 years in prison for the murder, with the possibility of release when he reaches the age of 50. Barbeau attempted to give an apologetic statement, but began weeping, handing it off to his defense counsel, who had to fight back emotions while trying to read the message. Barbeau and his companion Nathan Paape were previously convicted of murdering Barbara Olson with a hatchet in her Sheboygan, Wisconsin home. She allowed them into her house, and when she went to summon Barbeau's mother, Barbeau whacked her on the head with the hatchet. He said he then fled to the restroom because he felt unwell, and when he returned, he observed Paape repeatedly attack the lady with the hatchet. Based on the crime, which he called nothing short of horrific, Judge Timothy Van Ackeren said the sentence was the minimum. In my 24 years on the bench, I've never seen anything like this. Not even close, he said during his decision. The court determined that Barbeau had brain damage in a vehicle accident in 2009, which left him with an unspecified cognitive condition that played a part in his choice to commit a crime.
Subscribe to the fact that someone that has a concussion 3 years earlier somehow can't control himself to the point where he would allegedly, well, not allegedly anymore, he pled in, kill his great-grandmother. Sorry, I don't buy it. His life is gone. He's going to wait till he's 50, you know? He won't be anything like, he is today.
The teen's grandma, the victim's daughter, issued a statement that made Barbeau cry as well.
I can tell that Tino feels very badly about participating in killing my mother.
My mother was not a vengeful person. She'd want Antonio to have an opportunity to be a better person, to have hope, to have something to strive for, Grandma Judy Offutt told the Sheboygan Press. The killer's testimony contradicted Barbeau's buddy Nathan Paape's version of events.
I was talking with Antonio about getting money. He brings up that he could kill his grandma.
Why did you do that? Why did you walk over there and hit her?
I was scared.
Why were you scared?
That if I don't do what Antonio says, that he might try something on me.
According to his counsel, Paape felt Barbeau was kidding about murdering Olson. However, Barbeau said that his companion never intimated that he felt it was a joke. He has pleaded not guilty, but if found guilty, he risks life in jail with a minimum of 20 years. Olson's corpse was discovered in a pool of blood outside her house. According to investigators, after the adolescents discovered Olson was dead after the horrible assault, they tried to pull her corpse to the vehicle, leaving a blood trail throughout the home. They dropped Olson in the garage after failing to put her into the van. The adolescents are then accused of stealing a pocketbook, small cash, and jewelry. The assailants then jumped into Olson's vehicle and drove away. They ultimately abandoned the vehicle in the parking lot of a nearby bowling alley and went to a neighboring restaurant to split a pizza.
I sentence you to prison for murdering him for the rest of your natural life. Those sentences will run consecutive.
In a South Carolina courtroom, Alex Murdaugh, allegedly wiped away tears when a video of a responding officer's body camera showed his dead wife and kid during his murder trial.
Ever see him any tears, any physical tears?
I did not.
I didn't see him cry. Not everyone cried.
Murdaugh didn't seem disturbed, according to the officer, and there were no visible tears. Murdaugh also said that his son Paul had been getting threats at the time of the 2021 killings because of a boating accident he had been involved in 2 years before. Paul's buddy, Mallory Beach, 19, had perished in the collision.
My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious.
Okay.
He's been getting punched. I know that's what it is.
In the 911 call Murdaugh made to report his family dead,
Are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it's your wife and your son?
My wife and my son.
cell phone evidence, according to prosecutor Creighton Waters, will be a key factor in the case and, in the end, will purportedly show that Murdaugh, 54, was there at the crime scene. Waters said that around 8:44 on the evening of June 7, 2021, Paul Murdaugh emailed a video from his iPhone to a buddy. The voices of Paul, Maggie, and Alex Murdaugh were audible on the video, which was recorded close to the dog kennels on the family's 1,100-acre hunting property. Paul Murdaugh's cell phone was locked 3 minutes later and was not used again that evening. This video footage, in Waters' opinion, is significant since Alex Murdaugh earlier denied being close to the kennels, a claim that the film seems to explicitly refute. Just a few minutes after the video was recorded, at about 8:49 p.m., according to the prosecution, Alex Murdaugh murdered his wife and son. Then, they claim, in an effort to provide an alibi, he allegedly contacted his deceased wife's phone. The prosecution's timetable, according to the defense, is inaccurate, and Paul and Maggie were shot after Alex Murdaugh had left the scene. Murdaugh asserts that he left his home at 9 p.m. to see his ailing mother. Around 10 p.m., when he got back home, he contacted 911 and reported finding his dead wife and kid. Paul received close-range shots from a shotgun to the head and chest. Maggie had many gunshot wounds, including one to the back and others while laying on the ground. She was shot using an AR-style rifle and .300 blackout ammunition. At the scene, both individuals were declared dead. The killings of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh, who were members of a long-running legal family in Islandton, South Carolina, have rocked the town. In this trial, Alex Murdaugh is now accused of using 2 firearms and is also charged with 2 murders. He entered a not guilty plea. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video.